I was a project manager for large companies. As far as real estate, I never really had too much interest in it, but I always had like that hustle mentality. I started looking at multiple government funded loans, and I never really knew what wholesaling was.
Let's talk about some of those struggles and how you go through it.
The first couple months of this year was rough. Believing in yourself and believing in your why. It's not about the money. It's about being able to...
What's up next for you, John? What's your vision?
But my ultimate vision and my goal, something that would get me excited when I wake up.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Real Estate Deli, where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insight to you and make the information to start. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and care. And today I got a great guest. I got Johnny Mallister. Johnny Mac is in the house. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks, bro, for inviting me on. This is going to be sick.
I appreciate you, brother. He's kind of super local to us. You know, I call him tri-state. You know, he's in PA, Pennsylvania. I'm in New York City. He actually came out to a New York City meetup recently, and he got a great performance. He was doing a door knocking scenario settings. These guys built a stage, built a door. They had a door that you knock. They had handrails. These guys they had a doorbell. It was a great interaction to get people uncomfortable in the space, and he was awesome for that. So I appreciate you, John.
Heck yeah, man! That was fun. That was amazing. That was actually Jason's idea for the door, but yeah, that was good.
Shout out to Jason. He's another guy local to the area, Owners Club member as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason. But yeah, John. Again, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your journey in the real estate. Tell us about some successes you have, some wins, something you feel proud of. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did this. I feel good about myself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll share a little bit how I got started. So I had a W-2. I don't anymore. I left that about a little over a year ago. But I was right. Let's go. I was a project manager for site contractors, like large companies. Did a lot of the warehouse. You see all the warehouses around that big boom. I was like on the team with the site contractors, you know, pushing dirt, installing the utilities. And then I was the guy who would, you know, I looked at it as like defense. I was protecting the budget. I was protecting the schedule. And then I was protecting against what I call piss buckets, that when a project goes bad, you got to hand that off to the CEO of the company. And I was like protecting against that. So did that for like 10 years. As far as real estate, I never really had too much interest in it, but I always had like that hustle mentality. In 2019, I was going to college at nights. I was finishing my bachelor's degree in business management and a dual major I have actually in biblical studies. I was doing that, and I read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I mean, that's you listen to like, you know, Bigger Pockets when it used to be, you know, good. It used to have at the end, like, what's your two favorite books? And then like 9 out of 10 times, everybody on there is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I read that book and I got the itch. I think it was like 2018. And then I wrote out my 10-year vision plan to have like complete passive income by 2028. So I'm still working toward that. And my first deal that I did was actually a house hack, where it was an off-market property. I had been saving up some money for a down payment. I was renting at that time, and, you know, I had my family. I just had my son. He's 9 now. And I found a property that was a 3-unit. It was basically a 3-in-1, had 3-bedroom, 1 bath in the main. And then I had a 1-bedroom, 1 bath on the back end. And then it had a garage that was like 500 square feet per level. So I ended up buying that. I got an FHA loan, and I think it was like 3% down payment. And at the end of the day, my mortgage was like $1,600, but with the rent offset, I had to pay $600. So now I'm living in a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, that's fully rehab, paying $600 a month. Like, it was sick.
Sweet.
So, yeah. And from there, I kind of like lost the vision. It was like 2018, 19. I got, you know, I think my second child, and I was like, man, I want to get back into this. And then I started thinking about add value, and I was saving up a little bit of, you know, money for a down payment. And then what I did, and this is something that is a big win, is I started looking at multiple loans with these government funded loans. So you have FHA loan, which is 3.5% interest. And then you have another loan called a USDA loan, which is basically 0% down. And it's certain locations that qualify for those type of loans. And where I live here in Upper Montgomery County, which I'm about 35 minutes outside of Philly, it qualifies. So I seen a house that was listed for like 60 days, and I called the house, and this was like a couple of years back, but I went over here. They wanted like 225. I think I offered them like 215. We ended up going under contract. But the kicker is, when I first tried to get approved by the mortgage officer, he told me, no, I do not qualify because I have an FHA loan and I make too much money. And he said, no. And I said, okay. So I'm like searching, and I'm almost like put it to the wayside. But then I start Googling it, and I'm looking, and then I see, because I have 5 kids, 2 step kids, and then 3 of my own. Well, after we moved in that house hack, I had my 3rd child of my own. So my family increased. So I have now 6 dependents. And I called a mortgage broker back, and I'm like, hey, are you sure I don't qualify? I make too much money? Because I'm looking at this chart and it says I have 6 dependents and I should be good. Oh, yeah, you are good. Okay, you do a and I'm like, bro, like, you're the professional and you just tell me no. And now I got to find out. So that was a big win, man. And it was during COVID. And I applied for the USDA loan. I had to write a letter of why, because you can only get an FHA loan and a USDA loan if there's certain circumstances, like you move out of state because of work. But one of them is that your family size increases. So what I did was I wrote to the lender of that government loan. And it was like, look, when I first moved in my first house, we didn't have our 3rd child. It was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Now I have 2 girls and 2 boys living in the same house. Our family grew. Therefore, we need a bigger place, So that's why we're applying for this. And yeah, I went through all that. I sprinkled a little bit of COVID in there, like, woe is me, all that stuff, right? And they approved me for it. And then I had this property I would call as an add value. So then for 10 months, from like 2020 into 21, my wife and I, man, we came to this house nights and weekends and just grinded away and rehabbed it. And finally, I think it was like May, I want to say, of like 22, we finally moved in. So then I kept my original house hack. So I have that. And that interest rate's like less than 3, sub 3. This interest rate I have now is sub 3. And then it was an add value. So then I was able to, increase the equity in the property. And then that was like at the end of 22. And, I just finished this, and then I'm like, now what do I do? And I never really knew what wholesaling was. Like I was Googling it as watching some YouTube videos and stuff like that, but I couldn't see from A to Z what wholesaling was. And then I stumbled across this, it was like 1995. And back in the day, and I didn't even know who Pace was. Back in the day, Pace he always does those challenges. He did a driving for dollar challenge with bearded, with that one dude, Bearded Mike or whatever. I forget his name, but it was like $20. And then I'm watching these videos and I'm like, man, who is this Pace Morby, right? And then I go to the YouTube channel and I'm finding like 6 hours of like free content, and he's explaining it from like A to Z. All right, it's like crazy. Like, no one does this. Like, people, they charge you $10,000-$20,000 to tell you that, and here's this guy putting it on YouTube for free. And I'm like, all right, like, I can only imagine what's on the other side of the door. So in December 6th, 22, I joined Sub 2. And yeah, man, that opened my eyes to, like, how it is. Like, you're like, wow. So then I just started taking action. Got my first, it's actually hanging on my wall right there. It's a little house. It was my first deal, man, my first wholesale deal. And I got it done. It was local here. It was a fire damage property. And I did it. And I bought it. I think I locked it up for 5 and I sold it for 7. And then I was like, wow, I just did that. And then I did my first out-of-state deal, which only because of the community. One of my main focuses is pre-foreclosure. So I'm texting pre-foreclosures, and I get a family up here in Warrington, and they're in pre-foreclosure up here, and they say, yeah, we want to save this house, but we have a house in North Carolina, right? So we're in sub 2. I'm like, yeah, I buy houses in North Carolina, sure, right? And so then I reach out to I go out in the community, I make a post like, hey, is anybody in North Carolina? I think it was like Elm City, North Carolina, which like is like in the sticks. It's like, yeah, in the boonies. This one dude, Ralph, he's like, yeah, I know that area. So we get on a Zoom call Thursday night. We look at it, and I'm still green. I'm like, you think we could sell this? He's like, yeah, lock it up at this, and we'll be good. Okay. So the next day, Friday, I go to the people's house. I get them to sign a contract. They give me a big wad of keys. I take the keys, and then that's Friday. Saturday, I go to FedEx, throw the keys, ship them to Ralph, and then Ralph got the keys. He goes to the house, walks through it, takes pictures. I mean, that was a roller coaster ride. The one buyer was good, and then he wasn't. So it was a mess. But then I did my first out-of-state wholesale deal. Now on that one, we had to actually get another sub-2 member. Her name was Eve, and then she brought the buyer. And we ended up splitting it 3 ways, and I made like $3,700. But to me, it was like making $1 million because I just did a freaking out-of-state wholesale deal, and I was like,
it's those feelings, right? Because now you kind of proof of concept. And what it does for your confidence, right? That you put the hard work in there, you went through all these modules, let's say you studied, and now you're just now executing and connecting, and you did it, right? Like you did your first deal. It's not like it, right? So that confidence that it gives you, like, damn, I created something out of nothing, literally. I'm in a new space now, right? So it opens you up to a whole new world, and it led to now, let's challenge out of state. Let's see what I can do. And let's go out of this world, right? So now sky's the limit, right? And is this kind of your niche? Is this what you're doing, pre-foreclosures?
Yeah, right. I've always been focusing on pre-foreclosures. I did get like the shiny object syndrome, and I've done multiple different things, but my main focus is pre-foreclosures. I do door knocking. That was one of my wins. Like last year when I left my W-2, I just focused on door knocking, and the 1 month I made like $32,000 in 1 month. Like to me, that is like, I never thought that I could do that, but I was able to do it now. And then I've always focused on pre-foreclosures because they always have like a couple of the pillars, right? They have the important ones like motivation, like they have to do something, and the other thing is they got time, like they need to do something soon. Like typically if you're going to reach out to people in pre-foreclosure, their auction is in 30 to 90 days. Like it's coming up, like something needs to happen. So yes, that's mainly what I'm focusing on. Correct.
Interesting. I love that because the leverage is built in, right? There's something inevitable coming down the pipe, and I'm going to be here at the end of the funnel, let's say, to catch and resolve whatever issue it is, right? I'm going to be able to resolve that. So I love the strategy that, again, all these parts are kind of, they're going to happen, right? These things are going to happen. So you happen just to be there to play your position. So I like the leverage that you're using. I'm sure you've had struggles, right, John? We all go through struggles. We lose confidence. We don't follow through. Like you said, you had a spell where you didn't feel, kind of let go of the rope a little bit, right? And it was like, man, I'm not doing my thing. Let's talk about some of those struggles and how you go through it, and how you teach someone who's hadn't been through those journeys, but they will go through, and how they kind of can come out the other side.
Definitely, man. And actually, we're in March here. The first couple months of this year was rough. Like, deals were falling through, just feeling like, I was burnt out on the island, self-doubt, like the mind, like it's all about mindset, 100% about mindset. Yeah. So I would like go into my funks, but then I am like, that idea to burn the ships, like there's no going back, there's no going back. Like there's no, you just can't do it. Like that's it. The ships have been burnt. Some of the learning lessons, I'll say, because we don't fail, we just learn, right? We learn what works, what doesn't work. My first deal that I locked up for door knocking, I ended up flipping it. And on that one, because of the location, because of some bad management, because as an owner, you got to own everything, right? So bad management on the contractors. We ended up losing, 25 grand each, my partner and I. So like that was a big hit. But it's like, what do? Do you just quit and do you just give up? No, you just keep going. I've had a lot of deals fall through because with pre-foreclosures, you have a lot of liens, pre-foreclosure. They tend to be a little like, they'll ghost you and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like playing, it's like playing chess, man. And but yeah, that's like the biggest challenge. And then just believing in yourself and believing in your why. Like, why am I doing this? When I forget why, that's when it gets hard. It's not about the money. It's about being able to, like yesterday, I played hooky with my 7-year-old daughter. Like I said, we're going to play hooky. So I went to a meeting in the morning, took care of business, and then I picked her up at 12. And then we went to the mall. She got her ears pierced. Like, that's what it's about, like owning your schedule, owning your time, So, but that goes back to the why. Yeah, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I call real estate or whatever in this industry you are, it's a journey and self-discovery. You're going through a journey and you're testing your will and your willpower and how you get through it. And I kind of equate it to a wheel, right? For me is when them days are rough and tough, get one revolution in. Just get one whole
Mhm.
360 in to carry you through the next day. You don't want that sucker to stop,
Heck
right?
yeah.
That's what you want to avoid, that wheel from just staying stagnant and stopping and start growing weeds, right? You got to keep, that cycle going on. And then the days get better and that rotation kicks in and the momentum kicks back in and
So
you off
true,
to the races, right? So
bro.
it's
That's so good.
right. It's all these challenges that we all go through, right? It's kind of it's within, right? And once you get to conquer these, and they're gonna rear their ugly head, right? They're gonna reappear, that sucker, and that's the challenge back to you to see if you built for this again, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, those experiences are lessons, right? These are lessons that we go through to make us better. So whoever's listening, don't quit, fight through it. There's gonna be a valley of despair, and just keep fighting through it and keep, grinding it out, like John is telling you, like I'm saying. So yeah, John, what's up next for you, John? What do you see yourself? What's your vision? What are you looking forward to in the future? What type of new businesses is there? Real estate? Where are you going?
I have a dark past, right? So I had a long stint of addiction when I was younger. And by God's grace, I'm out of that, like, 12 plus years. I forget how many years. I don't keep track of it, but it was a rough time. But I say that to say I have a passion, or I have empathy for people that struggle with drug addiction, people that are caught in that, those bondages. And I never went to prison, but I work with a lot of people that are getting out of prison, and I see the need there also. So, one of my big things is I want to take real estate and I want to take my passion to help people and use both of them. And what does that look like? That's like sober living, group homes, things like that. I don't have any yet, but for me, the pre-foreclosures is like a stepping stone from step 1 to step 2, but that's where I'm heading. That's my passion. Like I want to do big things. I want to do multifamily and things like that, maybe land development, and because I have the site contractor background, like as a project manager. But my ultimate vision and my goal, something that would get me excited when I wake up, is that I'm able to help thousands of people per year because I own, I don't know, 20 group homes that house, men, women, restoring families, and then also sharing with people that have a background to let them know, like, yo, like realist, like who cares that you got a record or you got this stigma on your back? Get into real estate, because anything that you can do with a degree or a trades, you'll excel beyond. Like the sky's the limit. And what's cool is that someone coming from that type of background, like I was living in Atlantic City because I grew up in Jersey. I would get on the L in Atlantic City, go to Camden, go walk to the corner, by myself, and then go walk back to the L, go back to Atlantic City. And I say all that to say, and now all I have to do is go walk and knock on the door. Like, what I'm saying? The worst that's going to happen, they're going to tell me to, like one lady the other day, I got the recording. She's like, F you, I don't need your help, you fat F. And I'm like, geez, man, you don't call me an a-hole or a jerk off. You go right to my gut, But when you compare that, and then my drive for that addiction, now I can channel that for my passion of good,
For sure.
So yeah. So that's it, man. One thing I know where I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep pushing forward. I'm gonna keep the culture of sub two is a go-giver attitude. I love helping people. When I shared at the New York meetup, the one deal we did in Florida, St. Augustine, it was like a 31,500 payout. But three of the people on that deal, this was their first deal. So, like, that to me is exciting that, when we walk down the path, we do, a wholesale deal, we do a deal, we do an out of state deal, then we can show somebody else, like, look, this is the path. Like, look, just look, like, this is how you can do it. Like, you don't need to stay in that imprisoned mindset that
Yeah.
become like a sheep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta go to work for 40 years and day and night, and this is the life. That's not the American dream, man.
That
Yeah.
ain't it. That ain't it. I totally get it. I was in that cycle for 20 plus years. And fortunately for me, real estate was my exit. And fortunately for me, I had a mom who was an investor as well. So
Mm,
I had the vision, I saw the vision. So and I knew, I didn't know when, but I knew I had an exit out of that life. I
heck
had that,
yeah.
I had the power. It was just now when was I gonna execute on leaving? So I totally get it. For people who are in a workforce, there's other options than working there for 40 years. God bless you. I went down that journey, so I get it. But if you want another option, you want another way of living, you can really create it because you are. I am, right. I am what I want to be. So
Heck yeah. Yup. 100%, bro.
one, we're heading now into Squad Up. Squad Up is the biggest thing in real estate. It's an industry takeover that's happening. Last year was the inauguration of Squad Up. It was in Orlando. Now we're days away from the second one in Dallas. I see the
Let's
smile on
go.
your face. I see the smile on your face. Tell me what you're looking for. Tell me how you feeling about Squad Up and the opportunities and the relationships, new relationships you're about to encounter.
Yeah, it's sick, man. Like if you go to just like a regular like meetup, like an REI meetup, like some of them are okay, but it's totally different when you go to Sub 2, Gator, and those type of meetups. Now you're going to, if you've ever been to a Sub 2 meetup locally in your area, which they're all over the country,
All over.
now you multiply that times 100. Forget 10x. Now do 100x. Like,
Sure.
it's nonstop. What's cool is on the community, like you and I, we've seen each other face to face because we went to the meetup. But a lot of people that you're doing deals with, you're doing business with. My one partner, Randy, he's over in California, and now we're gonna get to hang out. Like, I literally never seen Randy, my partner, face to face. Like, I never shook his hand, but
Amazing.
we've done deals together. We crushed it together, and now we get to hang out together. So, and then you get to see all the people that, it's a reunion, man. But what am I preparing for? Like, I want to go there, we all need money, right, for our deal. So always look for private money lenders, who needs to deploy their money into funds. And then also, try to get a tighter networking locally in this area, and then also in other areas where I'm doing deals and stuff like that. And just, what do you have and what do you need? That type of attitude. But yeah, I mean, you can't put words in it. You just got to go to Squad Up. I mean, it's priceless.
Yeah, it's 4 days, 3, 4, 5 days. And like Pace says, you don't know who holds the key to your treasures. Right?
That's right. That's right.
That's
One conversation away, man.
you're one conversation away. So I'm stoked for you as you are. John, where can people find you? What are your social media handles? If people want to get in contact with you and do some business with you as well, or just want to talk to you and see what are you doing, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, Instagram, it's John F. McAllister, McAllister. Good way to remember me if you ever seen Home Alone, Kevin McAllister. I got made fun of that when I was at the 7th grade bus stop back in the day. But John F. McAllister, John. Same thing with YouTube. I'm in the Sub 2 community, and I'm always looking for people to JV with. I'm a great closer, so if you need help closing a deal, like, I'm always, open to that. We got a small dispo team. I got buyers in Philly and Jersey, North Jersey. Not in New York, bro. I stay out of New York.
Me too.
Except for Chris, right? Chris is up.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I'm on Instagram and stuff, and I try when I post on Instagram, I try to like you'll see me a lot of times driving, talking about door knocking on the phone with sellers. I mean, that's what it's about. I try to be as real and show my ups and my downs, because that's what it's about, ups and downs. But you just keep pushing forward, man.
Yeah, keep that grind, keep it happening.
Yeah.
John, you're that guy. I appreciate you for coming on, and we'll see you soon. I'll see you soon, and I'm glad that we got to connect in this way. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah. One more thing, we're doing. We started our own meetup in Conshohocken.
Okay.
Like in the Eastern PA, so that'll be the second Saturday of every month, and that's going to be sick too. It's at a, I don't drink no more, but it's at a brewery on a Saturday. We got sponsors and stuff, food. It's going to be sick, bro.
That'll be a recurring meetup.
It will be every second Saturday starting in April after Squad Up. Yup, it's going to be fire.
Awesome. Everyone listening, you know that you want to get in contact with him, hit him up, and see him at the meetup. Again, John, appreciate you, big dog.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man, for inviting me on here.